Despite recent animal welfare concerns, zoos have been around for hundreds of years. Mainly for the pleasure of the elite in our society, these places for viewing wild and exotic animals have continued to attract the public for many years. The conquests of many ancient lands by ancient civilizations led to the discovery of different animals never seen before. Conquerors of these new lands and wildlife took various examples of these strange creatures back to their homeland to display for the leaders and sometimes the public, to view without the danger of travelling to distant lands. Now we will look at some of the older zoos in the world and the history behind them, whether they were for the general public or the masters in a society, what animals they might have housed or how they treated those animals. All the zoos I will soon cover are still open today and therefore open to visits. Let's start at number 5. Number 5. Bristol Zoo. Bristol Zoo, located in the UK, was founded in the year 1836 by Bristol, Clifton and West of England Zoological Society. They aim to maintain and defend biodiversity through breeding endangered species, conserving threatened species and their habitats. Bristol Zoo is home to around 300 mammals, representing 50 species in total, from red pandas to Asiatic lions, and in total they have over 7,000 animals. The zoo is home to many insects and reptiles. There are aquariums for water-faring animals and the Twilight Zone for viewing nocturnal creatures, one of the first of its kind when it opened. Bristol Zoo is the oldest provincial zoo and covers around 12 acres, small by modern comparison but large at the time this Victorian walled zoo opened. It came to national attention in the 60s by appearing on a television show called Animal Magic. This helped boost customers and allowed the zoological gardens to flourish into what it is now. Listed buildings lit to the site, with many animal enclosures themselves being protected, just like the animals they house. The zoo helps and works with many other zoos worldwide to help maintain and grow the population of many animals. They support different charities that help rescue various animals worldwide. Have you visited the Bristol Zoo? Number 4. Dublin Zoo. The Zoo of Dublin is a much larger zoo located in Phoenix Park, Dublin, Ireland. It covers 69 acres and opened in 1831. Dublin Zoo had many of its first occupants donated by the London Zoo and studies animals, just like the London Zoo. Dublin Zoo is dedicated to the preservation and conservation of many exotic and endangered species from around the world. They started off small, with it being open only to the wealthier middle class, but they soon made it more affordable to the masses. The zoo became a major tourist attraction, and one day in 1838, to celebrate Queen Victoria's coronation, they opened it completely. On that day, the zoo saw 20,000 visitors pass through its gates, a massive feat even by modern standards. The zoo has seen many famous people visit the animals, including the ex-US President Ulysses S. Grant. In the 20th century, the zoo faced troubling times as they ran into financial trouble. A grant from the government allowed the zoo to purchase an extra 32 acres in 1997, allowing it to flourish once again. Since then, the zoo has seen increase after increase in the numbers of visits and is now one of the most popular places to visit in all of Ireland. New habitats have been built and a television show was made called The Zoo. This all benefited the zoo in its international effort in making a meaningful difference in the lives of other animals. They are part of many groups and programs striving to help endangered and threatened animals. Have you heard about the Dublin Zoo before? Number 3. London Zoo. London Zoo, located in the UK, is the world's oldest scientific zoo. It opened on the 27th of April 1828 and was intended to be used as a collection of animals for scientific studies. In around 1831, new animals were added to the London Zoo from the Tower of London's Menagerie. It opened to the public in 1847 and today houses just under 700 species and just under 20,000 individual animals, making London Zoo one of the largest in the UK. London Zoo is sometimes known as Regent Zoo due to its location and is funded entirely by admission fees, memberships and sponsorships. However, they needed to open to the public to generate enough money. It opened the first reptile house, public aquarium and children's zoo and covers 36 acres. But it also started off many areas of land such as the world's first zoological park in 1931. It participated in the world's very first breeding programs and was home to species unseeable elsewhere in the UK. In the 1990s, it doubled the amount of animals as the next largest zoo, Chester Zoo. But this vast number led to financial problems as they struggled to maintain all those species. Public opinion dropping due to the ethics of zoos in the 80s began a long struggle to maintain enough cash to stay open. It was announced in 1991 that the zoo was going to close. This led to a massive swell of public support that allowed the zoo to stay open through new customers, donations and volunteers. Number 2. Menagerie de Jordan de Plantes. Menagerie de Jordan de Plantes is the second oldest zoo in the world and now houses only smaller animals like birds and lizards. This is due to all the buildings within the zoo being protected due to their age, making expansion basically impossible. Owned by the Botanical Gardens Jardin des Plantes, Menagerie de Jordan des Plantes covers about 14 acres of Paris and about 1/3 of the entire Botanical Gardens. The Jardin des Plantes was created out of 58 acres in 1628 by royal physicians. The zoo park came later in 1794 when it opened on the 11th of December. The Menagerie de Jordan des Plantes was created during the French Revolution to house a portion of the exotic animals freed from private ownership. The animals were split between different menageries, but as others closed down, Menagerie de Jordan des Plantes accepted more of the exotic animals, therefore growing the zoo. Entrance to the zoo was free since its opening. It soon became a popular tourist attraction and became the largest exotic animal collection in Europe in the 19th century. As more rules came into place concerning the welfare of animals, it soon became too small to house larger animals such as elephants and giraffes. Therefore, the zoo closed all of these sections and focused on medium and small animals instead. Have you ever heard of the Menagerie de Jordan before? Number 1. Tiergarten Schönbrunn. Tiergarten Schönbrunn, or Vienna Zoo, is a zoo located on the grounds of the famous Schönbrunn Palace in Vienna, Austria. It was originally founded in 1752 as an imperial menagerie and has been in continuous operation since then, making it the oldest zoo in the world. Animals have been kept in its location since 1540, but this was a small collection, and only when the zoo was opened did it really expand to become a popular place for tourists, and then, when it was opened to the public, a popular place for the general population. It had heavy losses during the wars. It shrank from 3,500 animals in 1914 to 900 after the end of the war due to food shortages. In 1945, that number had shrunk again to only 400 animals. However, it was eventually restored to its former size and popularity. However, in the 1980s, the zoo nearly collapsed due to a financial crisis. The closure of the zoo was prevented by privatization, and has since then been renovated as much as possible due to the age of the buildings. It is one of few zoos in the world that house giant pandas. It has a simulation of a rainforest, an aquarium, and a simulation of Arctic regions. In 1906, it saw the birth of the first elephant in captivity. Along with many other impressive feats this zoo has managed to achieve in the hundreds of years it has been open. Now that you've heard about 5 of the oldest zoos in the world, what do you think of them? Have you visited any? Do you want to visit any? Please discuss in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe and click the bell to always be up to date with the latest about history with the History Scholar.